debate is over premarital sex and why we shouldn't do it. Our first argument is the brain. Engaging in intercourse produces a lot of dopamine, which is a powerful chemical that is compared to heroin. Dopamine is your internal pleasure/reward system. Another hormone that is released is oxytocin, which is designed mainly to help us forget what is painful. Oxytocin is a hormone produced primarily in women's bodies that bonds them to their newborn child. The same thing occurs when a woman is intimate with a man. Oxytocin is released, and this makes her bond to him so much emotionally stronger. In some cases, a woman will stay with the man who's abusing her because she's so attached to him that she can't find herself to leave. Men produce the same hormone called vasopressin, which is also referred to as the monogamy hormone. It has the same effect that oxytocin has to women. These bonding agents narrow down the selection down to one person. This is a wonderful thing to have in a marriage, but can be really bad in a dating relationship because if you break up with that individual and move on, you end up losing your objectivity when you're searching for your potential life mate. In Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil, Nietzsche says that whatever is done with love always occurs beyond good and evil. Nietzsche makes an exception and admits that such a thing as love defies categories, even his own. This supports my argument because it's in our own human nature to bond to one another. And marriage is a sacred bond where two individuals become one, not only emotionally, but physically as well. This love, this real true love, is only achieved with one person that you're going to spend the rest of your life with. So if it's meant to be, it's worth waiting for. My next point is impaired judgment. According to neuropsychologist Dr. Tim Jennings, when you have premarital sex, your reward circuitry is bonded to them now, and it will be much deeper and hurtful if it ends up breaking apart. Oftentimes in breakups of people who have been sexually active, they can't tolerate the sense of emptiness, so they rush into another relationship. The neural circuits do not have time to reset, and so they're impaired to their ability to bond to the next person. And then they become more sexually active with them, which in the end is just a repetitive cycle that doesn't really have any common ground of actually rebuilding the trust and actual bond relationship between a man and a woman. In Nietzsche's Beyond Good and Evil, he says that our eye reproduces an image that has produced many times before, instead of what is new and an impression. Nietzsche uses modern neuroscience to rationalize that people often don't see what they're looking at. In connecting this to my argument, I believe people sometimes reflect and compare their past relationships onto their new companion and mold them into which they had before their new relationship, which in most cases they don't even realize they're doing it. More so, if you're sexually intimate with that one person, it can cause you an insecurity that you most likely wouldn't have had you waited for your marriage.
I'm going to be talking about unwanted pregnancy. An unwanted pregnancy can and will have a major impact on your life in many ways, even if you don't want it to. Half of all unintended pregnancies in the United States end up resulting in abortion. Unintended pregnancies are more common among unmarried women. As with any surgical procedure, abortion carries an inherent risk of medical complications, including death. So it's a very serious thing, especially whenever it's unintended. The birth of a child is a major event in the parent's life and in anyone's life, whether the child was a result of an intended or unintended conception. When childbearing occurs without prior planning and preparation, it can cause severe disruption of other life plans. Having a kid is a huge part of someone's life, and it's big, and you want it to be whenever you're ready, not unplanned. Okay. The benefits of waiting. Why would delaying intimacy benefit a long-term relationship? You can find out if you're sexually compatible with the other person, and just like getting to know them and know if you're ready or not. You might hear everyone else is doing it. In reality, surveys show that 77% of college students believe that their peers are hooking up more often than they really are. And just because other people are doing it doesn't mean you have to. It depends on whenever you're ready. And um, keeping the physical out of the equation helps partners connect and get to know each other's personalities and intellect without having to see each other naked or like making out. Like sex is a part of a relationship, but it doesn't need to be beforehand. Um, just know like your body and your worth. When you wait till marriage, you get to save your body and share yourself with the one that you truly love, and you'll be 100% pure and ready to give yourself to that one person. And it's much more special to wait until marriage instead of having to hook up more times before then, because it won't be as special, because sex is something that you're supposed to wait for. Um, in the King's Letter from Birmingham Jail, it said, "We should never forget that everything that Adolf Hitler did in Germany was legal, and everything that the Hungarian freedom fighters did in Hungary was illegal. Um, it was illegal to aid and comfort the Jews in Hitler Germany. Even so, I am sure that had I lived in Germany at the time, I would have aided and comforted my Jewish brothers." Basically, what I took from this was, even though having premarital sex is legal, just like what Adolf Hitler was doing was legal, does not mean that it was right. It doesn't mean that it was okay. Just like premarital sex, like people have different views, but just because it's allowed doesn't mean that you have to do it. It's like save yourself for someone special, and um, just be careful because there's consequences to it. But sex is a very important thing, and you want to save it for that one person that you love.
Premarital sex often leads to single parenthood, and it has been scientifically proven that children from single parents are less happy, less fulfilled, and more prone to violence and crime. There's very little parent monitoring. Leaving adolescents alone for hours at a time and not required accountability is a setup for sex. Parenting was meant to be a team effort, and some risks will naturally increase. One parent is left to do all protecting and monitoring alone. Some studies do indicate that adolescents living with a single parent are more likely to become sexually active than those living with both parents. Work and household demands can prevent parents from being as involved and attentive as they need and want to be. And the divorce can sometimes lead to one parent home, can lead can make teens uncertain about the value of marriage as a setting for sexual activity and about the roles of sexual and parental relationships. Diseases. In premarital sex, there are diseases such as chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, and many more. There are 79 million Americans, most in their late teens and early 20s. They are affected by HPV. There are many types of HPVs. Some can cause health problems. If you have sex with somebody that you are not married, then you are not married to, then it is more likely that the male or female will lie to get the benefit of having sex if they have a sexual disease. It is more likely that if you have premarital sex that you won't be so attached to someone that you can just go around and have sex with most people and get the disease from them and spread it around. All boys from age 11 or 12 get vaccinated. Gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men throughout the age 26, um, 26 years. Men with HIV or weakened immune systems are through 28 years of age if they do not get vaccinated when they were younger. Um, King says in his letter, "Now, what is the difference between the two? How does one determine whether a law is a just or unjust? A just law is a man code that squares a moral law and the law of God. An unjust law is a law in the harmony with a moral law. An unjust law is a human law that is not rebooted in an internal law and natural law." What this quote means, um, to me, is that premarital sex isn't a law, but a law of God. And if you are willing to break the law of God, then you are breaking the law of society. And here we have a works cited page. These are all the resources that we used on slides 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not 6, sorry, slide 9 and 10. And that concludes our arguments on why we believe we should wait for marriage. Thank you.